Hey guys, welcome to Digital Versus. We have here two giant 6.4-inch phablets. On the left we have the Xiaomi Mi Max versus the newer Xiaomi Mi Max 2 on the right. How do these two phones compare in a benchmark showdown? Well, let's find out. We have the Xiaomi Mi Max on the left and the newer Mi Max 2 on the right. So the Mi Max is actually available with two different processors. You can choose between a Snapdragon 650 or the Snapdragon 652. So we have the Snapdragon 650 version. This is a hexa-core processor, so it has two Cortex A72s and four Cortex A53s, the A72 being more powerful. Now if you have the Snapdragon 652, it just means that you get four Cortex A72s along with the four Cortex A53s. Now this is paired with the Adreno 510 graphics. On the Mi Max 2 we get a Snapdragon 625, so this is an octa-core. We get 8 Cortex A53s and the Adreno 506 graphics. Now you might be wondering, why has Xiaomi opted to go with a lower end processor on the Mi Max 2? And the reason is, instead of increasing performance, they instead wanted to increase battery life. So the 625 is a much more energy efficient processor than the 650 or the 652. It's built on the 14 nanometer process instead of the older 28 nanometer process. So both phones here have 6.4 inch 1080p displays. On the Mi Max, the version that we have has 3 gigs of RAM. You can get it with up to 4 gigs of RAM. The Mi Max 2 only available with 4 gigs of RAM. And in terms of the Android version, Mi Max being the older phone comes with Android 6, whereas the Mi Max 2 comes with Android 7. So I've already run benchmarks on both of these phones, so let's just get straight into it. Let's start off with Antutu. So in Antutu, as you can see straight away, that the Mi Max, the older phone, is scoring quite a bit higher than the newer Mi Max 2. Obviously the Snapdragon 650 more powerful than the Snapdragon 625 in this test. Now you might be wondering, what would the 652 version of the Mi Max score in Antutu? Well, I've got another phone here which does have a Snapdragon 652, and in Antutu this phone scores 84,600 points. So if we had the Snapdragon 652 powered Mi Max, you could expect to get about 5,000 points more in Antutu. Moving on to Geekbench 4, very interesting results here. The Snapdragon 650 with the Cortex A72s outscoring the Mi Max in the single core test, but then in multi-core score, the Mi Max 2 scoring a very high 4,200 points versus the 2,800 on the Mi Max. Now I did run this test multiple times and got the same results. I also have another phone here. This is the Xiaomi Mi Max, this is the Xiaomi Mi 5X, and it scores pretty much the same as the Mi Max. Both of these phones, 4 gigs of RAM, Android 7 and Snapdragon 625, so as you'd expect, similar scores there. And then for the Snapdragon 652, we have a score here. The A72 both scoring 1420, and the multi-core score, this phone here obviously being an octa-core, this one being the hexa-core, 3,500, still not matching the Mi Max 2, so very interesting result there. Now in the Geekbench 4 graphics test, we can see that the Adreno 510 found on the Mi Max is a little bit more powerful than the Adreno 506 found in the Mi Max 2, 3,700 versus 3,200. Moving into Basemark OS 2, let's have a look at the results of these two phones. So we see here the one going to the Mi Max, the overall score there 1,500 versus 1,250 on the Mi Max 2. Interesting here though that the Mi Max 2 scores very high in the system test, but the rest of the ones here going to the Mi Max. And this is Basemark X Gamebench. So the Mi Max 2 on the top and the Mi Max on the bottom. Having a look at the results here, so this is testing graphics performance in gaming. So the Mi Max 2 scoring 21,000, whereas the Mi Max scoring 25,000. And here are the results from AndroBench. So this is testing the internal memory. We're looking at the sequential read and write performance and the random read and write performance. So starting off from the top, sequential read speeds 238 megabytes per second versus 268. Sequential write speeds 114 versus 139. Random read speeds 45 versus 38. And random write speeds 13 versus 11. So in sequential speeds, the Mi Max 2 actually outperforming the Mi Max, but then in random speeds, the Mi Max outperforming the Mi Max 2. And in PC Mark, we get fairly similar scores here actually, 4,900 versus 4,800. And the final benchmark that we're going to be doing is Seascape. Now the Snapdragon 625 really does struggle with this benchmark, as you'll see once I start running it. Look how jerky that is. So Snapdragon 625 powered Mi Max 2 on the top, and the Snapdragon 650 powered Mi Max on the bottom. Okay, so we've let that run now for a few seconds. You can see the frame rate in the top left hand corner, 3 frames per second for the Mi Max 2, 9 or 10 frames per second on the Mi Max. If we just go ahead and look at the final score, you see there you go, 3 frames per second and 9.6 frames per second. So that was the end of the benchmark test. So as you can see, the majority of the wins going to the Mi Max, especially in graphics tests. So if you're into gaming, go for the older Mi Max versus the newer Mi Max 2. But if you want battery life, then the Mi Max 2 is going to be the one to go for. Not only does it have a more energy efficient processor, but it also has a larger battery. So I will be doing another comparison between these two phones, talking about all the features, and that will be coming in an upcoming video. So don't forget to subscribe for that. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.